Hello, hello. It's another wisdom walk. Hooray. Oh, it's so good to be back with you. I've been looking forward to sharing what I need to share today, which is all about rejection. How does rejection show up for you in your life? And how can we shift the energy when we feel rejected and hurt? So that's what we're going to dive into today. So if that's been a theme for you or it's been coming up for you, you're going to want to stay tuned. Happy Wisdom Walk. I love these days because it just gives me so much opportunity to dive in and to listen to the inner workings of my heart and to help me in my healing process too. So thank you for tuning in and thank you for giving me a reason to do my work. I want to start with that. So as I mentioned in the preview, rejection. I want to talk about rejection, how that shows up in our lives first. And then I want to talk about a few things that I do to help me move through that process of rejection. Because it goes deep sometimes, doesn't it? So first things first, let's understand the energy of rejection. Oftentimes rejection shows up, it can show up in a relationship when somebody doesn't want to be intimate. That can feel rejecting. It can show up when we have a colleague at work that, doesn't want us to take on new roles. It can show up in firing. It can show up in all sorts of ways. For me, what happened in the last couple weeks was a major shift around rejection. And I'll give you my story as an example, because you might be able to relate with my story. So I live in a pretty small community, obviously up in Canada, where it's nice and chilly. And so there was a local community space that opened up in the last year, and an old colleague, an acquaintance of mine, had opened up this space. And I just thought, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to do more in-person sessions with people. And although I work out of another space here in town, I just thought it would be a great opportunity. So I reached out, I said, hey, how would you like to do some work together? And, can I look at being part of your team and coming and doing sessions? And so we had some great meetings. I had booked a couple sessions and everything seemed fine. However, when I went to book my last session, I got a response. After thinking about it, I don't think you're the right fit for this space. And I was crushed. I just felt my heart sink. And of course, my mind went to, what did I do wrong? Where did I mess up? And I do have a tendency of going over time. And so I suspect it's because, I go over 5 or 10 minutes of time and it doesn't work for some of their other practitioners or something like that. However, my mind went to making up all these stories. You know how we do that? We make all these stories. What could this have been? What did I do that was wrong? I really started to beat up on myself. And of course, I went through bouts of being angry about it towards that other person, finding blame, the process. But here's what's really profound about it. At the end of it all, I came to a place of respect for that entrepreneur, because that entrepreneur had the courage to say, here's my boundary, although she didn't give me a reason why and doesn't seem to be giving me any reason why. She has not communicated with me, so I actually don't know, which is a whole nother issue in itself. That also feels like rejection, but I really respect that she was setting boundaries for her business. And there could be a whole slew of reasons why I'm not the right fit. But man, did it hurt. Oh, it hurt so bad. And I kept wondering, why am I hurting so bad? So what? She just doesn't want me in the space. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And yet to me, it said so much more. So what I started to do is I started to peel back the layers. And so of course we know awareness is the key, but perhaps there's even more information that we could glean from this entire experience. And so I went back into my history of childhood first. So a little time lapsing, if you will. So I went back into my child history and I thought, where have I felt rejected in my life? And I looked at that and realized there was a lot of rejection as a kid. Everything from my cousins not letting me into their treehouse. You're a girl, you can't come in. Everything from, not being, I think of one time, particularly in high school, where I really didn't fit in and I was being bullied. That exile, that rejection. In fact, in grade 8, I got a letter that a bunch of the students put together, and it was a list of all the things that were wrong with me. And I feel a bit emotional even sharing that because I remember that hurting me so deeply. Every line scarred me, and they were stupid things. One of the comments was that I had a mustache. In grade 8, that's devastating, right? So I went back in time and I looked at all these times of rejection where I was so hurt. And then I was able to say, no wonder this one incident now as an adult is hurting me so bad. Because what it's doing is it's not just about that incident. It's about all of these other times when I felt this and didn't have the chance to heal that, or didn't have the chance to do the reflection that I needed to do. So what a beautiful aha that I had to say, I don't have to beat myself up for feeling so hurt about this. I can actually use that technique of no wonder to say, no wonder I felt how I felt. No wonder that hurt me so deeply. And then I was able to go back and start healing that inner child through conversation, through reflection. So what that experience did for me was like tenfold, because instead of it just being about that experience, I was able to go back and heal other experiences too. Whoa, what a clearing, right? So that awareness was key. And then I started to come into acceptance, right? Like it happened, it was what it is. And it's okay that it happened because it gave me this incredible opportunity to then grow and expand even more. So then I was able to move into appreciation, into gratitude. And so then I thought, okay, now what do I do with this moving forward? What do I do with this knowledge, around rejection? Like, how do I start healing this? And the truth is, it's not just about the rejection, right? And yes, it's about previous experiences, but it also goes deeper into you're not worthy, you're not loved, you're not welcome here, you don't belong here. I mean, if you were to break down what the rejection's really about, oftentimes it's saying a lot of those other things. And so as I go through my process, I'm asking my spirit team, what are the other things that I can do that will help me to move forward so that the next time this happens, it won't feel so hurtful and it won't feel so jarring. And there was a couple things that came up around that. And one of them was deep compassion for self was number one, to learn from that rejection. Because the other piece of this, and I know I'm kind of rambling all over the place, but I just feel like this is important to share. But the other piece of this is that rejection oftentimes is also a mirror. If you saw my mirror episode, you might kind of know what I'm talking about here. If you haven't, let me just give you a little bit of understanding. Everything in life is a mirror, right? So it gives us an opportunity for reflection. It's not always meant to be used as a it's all your fault mirror. Sometimes it's a mirror to say, hey, you got rejected here, but the question becomes, how have you rejected yourself? And so that reflection was so powerful, because then I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, how have I rejected myself? Where have I not set boundaries for myself? Where have I said yes to somebody else and no to myself? So again, the amount of information was so incredible. And here's the real kicker. That space was not in alignment for me. And I wasn't in alignment for her. Okay, that means that there's something better for me. That means that there's something more for me. Because the universe is always conspiring for my highest good. So even though my perception is that that was a really yucky experience and it didn't feel good, the truth is that I absolutely know that there is something better for me. Rejection is a redirection for something better. And so remember that the next time someone says no, remember that the next time that you feel that you don't belong somewhere, that there is a better place for you to belong to, right? So as you can see, I went through this whole process of acknowledging I went through this pain and pulling up all of those other experiences in my life in which I experienced some of that trauma around rejection. Then I went to accepting, hey, it happened, it was what it was. There's no point in being upset or angry about it unless I'm not willing to see the value in it. Then that moved me to appreciation, to realize, oh my goodness, this is actually a good thing, because had it not happened, I wouldn't have peeled back those layers. I wouldn't have gone deeper and healed those parts of myself. And then of course, the action step is understanding that it's a redirection. It's allowing me to really lean in and take those steps that will allow me to have deeper compassion for myself, which in turn will allow me to have deeper compassion for others. So much goodness in that one experience of rejection. And so the invitation, if I'm doing my job well, it means that I am allowing myself to lead by example. And so I hope that this inspires you to shift some of your perspectives the next time that somebody rejects you or says no to you, to allow you to come into a place of receiving, to get all the value, and to allow yourself to heal even more deeply. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope that's super helpful for you. Please do go and check out the podcast When Spirit Calls if you haven't already. Sign up for our Facebook group, Sacred Alchemists. It helps me to help you when you share, when you like, when you comment. So I really, really appreciate it. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. For those of you that are in cold places, stay warm. Bye for now.